What's up, fam? Thank y'all for tuning in once again. And as always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit that notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. You know, back in the 60s and the 70s, a lot of our people, was on a Pan-African pro-black movement, which was a great thing. Still should be going on today. And especially in that percentage of people, and that large majority of people, it should be in the forefront, should be on the news, should be, on the internet or what have you. Everyone should know about it. Within that time, within that space, a lot of our people are giving their kids quote unquote Afrocentric names, like let's say Mobutu. I remember going to school with a girl named Mobutu back in the day. And then more, looking back on it now, I don't know if it was Afrocentric, but a lot of names, some folks make jokes about them, but, people take their names seriously. You see what I'm saying? So if you have like a, Shaniqua or Taniqua or, I don't know, what's the guy's name? Lamont, I don't know. But there were names that were given to us, like kids of my generation and maybe younger. I even know a girl, know a girl whose name was Alizé. Young girl, so her mama must have been a Tupac fan or must have grew up watching Steve Harvey like we did. The Steve Harvey show, the comedy show, not the talk show. But anyway, I'm trying to give our kids unique names so they can stand out. The problem is we're not looking a lot of times at the big picture. There is nothing wrong with naming your child whatever you want to name it, because hell, when they get old enough, they can always change it. If they don't like it, they can always legally change their name to whatever they want to, period. I think my dad changed his name legally when he got older. You can do that. But for those of us who don't know that you can change your name, legally or whatever, and you keep that name that you was given, it has hindered a lot of our people when it comes to the workforce. If you are dependent upon and know that feel that your child is going to depend upon being in the American job force, working for, let's just say, anybody, white people, Hispanics, Asians, or what have you. If you know there's a strong possibility that could happen, the first thing you need to do is to think deeply about the name that you give your child, because it will have an impact on their lives, whether you like it or not. We live in a system of racism, white supremacy, or what, and we're not controlling of anything. We don't make the rules like that, so we have to abide by the rules. Now we can say, it's not, we can say it's unfair because, Asian people don't change their name. But I'm gonna tell you like this here. One place where your name really does not, sometimes as much may not matter, is in the health field. I work in the medical field. I've worked at hospitals. I've worked at clinics, and there are a lot of people, young sisters there, brothers too, who have unique, quote unquote, Afrocentric names that work at these places. Now, a lot of these places are, these jobs that don't pay a lot. When you're a CNA or PCT, whatever, stuff like that. Those jobs don't pay a whole lot. But there are those nurses that make pretty decent money with the non-Americanized name. But then a lot of those people that work in those positions are not American citizens. They come from other countries and they bring their names over here. And a lot of, I've worked with nurses that, don't use the name that came from their home country, and use it. I've seen people, I'll say like I know nurses use the name Liz or Elizabeth, and her real name doesn't look nothing like that. Legally, but that's the name she used amongst the co-workers. But legally, the whole long, the whole long name, her original name or whatever, her legal name, the name that she should be proud of, that's on her badge, that's on all the documents. I mean, she, is using it and running with it. But the other name is just something that's making it a little easier for us, kind of like a nickname, like easier for us to understand, recognize the person, So can't really knock that. But with that being said, there's a story that I'm about to get into out of the Independent, and it says it's from an Independent UK, and it says young black people changing their names and hair at work to quote fit in with colleagues. And this has been a big story over the last few years, especially dealing with like hair, like our people wearing natural hair and can't wear natural hair because them folks say it's unprofessional, or even like with names, where you've seen stories where I saw a young lady that put in an application, had hellified credentials, and no one called her back. She had a Afrocentric name, and no one called her back, but then she used that same resume and turned it to a westernized name. More westernized name, a more acceptable, palatable name. And she got calls back with the same credentials and got calls back to back. I think she ended up suing people for discrimination. I'm not sure exactly how that went, but the story is out there. So this is nothing new, but it is sad because these youngsters have to do this to make it in this world. But let's get into the story, and we'll dialogue for a second. It goes that young black people are changing their names at work and don't feel comfortable wearing their natural hair, a new study has revealed. 22% of young black people, that's 2%, you know how I feel about polls. It's like, how many people did you survey when you did this poll, and who did you survey, and where did you get them from? Did you survey all Africans who moved to Europe or America? Did you survey black Americans that, only, Aboriginal black Americans? I mean, who did you survey that live in America or live in Europe or live in Africa? Who did you survey? Let's say again, 22% of young black people reported changing their name on a job application to improve their chances of success, according to the largest ever survey of black Gen Z talent in the UK, conducted by recruitment marketing agency Tap In. Now again, like the stories in UK, but we know this happens in America too, so this is important to us. This is significantly high, especially when compared with their Asian Gen Z and white Gen Z peer. What's Gen Z? Like late 20s, early 30s, I think. 12% and 7% respectively. Some 47% of this group say they alter their names to make it easier for colleagues to pronounce at work, while just 14% and 24% of their white and Asian counterparts respectively. And again, like I say, I know people that got names that are hard to pronounce if you're not really familiar with the phonetic alphabet, which a lot of these youngsters not nowadays. We learned that when we was in school, the phonetic alphabet, but like I said, a lot of these kids, they don't even teach them how to write cursive. So hell, they don't even teach them period. These youngsters do reports. I remember when I was a young kid, when we did reports, we had like a rough draft, a second draft, a final draft, and then you turn it in. There, you write it, do all your research, the teacher get it, grade it, come back with all these little red marks on your paper, say rewrite it, correct these mistakes, these errors, and you go back and do it, and go back and correct it, send it back to her. If you're lucky, that's the only time you got to turn it. You got to give it. She'll give it. No, that's the only time. That's the last time you turn it in. But the majority of us, it came back at least 2 times, maybe even 3. before it was due. But they don't do that now. I don't know why. It said, but over 2,000 black people. Oh, see, 2,000. Like I said, that's a small group. And again, who are you interviewing, and where are they located? Are they located in the country? Are they located in the big city? Are they working at McDonald's? Or are they working at a Fortune 5, a banking firm? Are they working at a hospital? Yeah. Over 2,000 black people between the ages of 16 and 25 were interviewed for the report in a bid to understand what motivates black people to stay in jobs and perform well at work. Figures from the, quote, "This is Black Gen Z" report revealed that 45% of young black women avoid wearing their natural afro locks at work due to the unwelcome scrutiny it often brings. By contrast, 76% of white Gen Z workers feel comfortable with their natural hair. Well, there you go. Why do you feel comfortable with your natural hair? Because you look like the people you work for. Why don't you feel comfortable about your natural hair? Because you work with people and for people who don't look like you. Is this my quote unquote natural hair? Yes. But technically, no. But I grew up when I was a kid, had a nappy afro. Junior high, I had a box. But when I got to high school, I cut it all down, started brushing. Because I want the waves. But it was not to impress them other folk. It was to impress, well, to look good for my people. You know, females for the most part. So it wasn't for a job, but that's how I had it, and it's been like that ever since. Hadn't changed. Don't plan on changing until it starts thinning out too much, and then it falls out, and then I had to cut it bald. But until then, I'm gonna keep rocking these waves. You know what I'm saying? Until, like they said, until the wheels fall off, until the hair fall off or whatever. But like I said, does it affect my job? I think it helps. You know, so it helps with my appearance and enhances my appearance. It has enhanced my appearance in anything that I do. So, but my hair is always kept, regardless. But I used to want dreadlocks and stuff and braids when I was younger. And my mom was like, "No, you're not gonna wear that when you get grown. You know, move out the house. You can do whatever you want to, but not here." But it's like our parents knew what was coming. They knew what the world, what this real world brought. They knew that, and you look at it now, like a lot of these youngsters that be profiled, get in trouble, get harassed by these police. A lot of these youngsters, you see what our people, you see the youngsters got a lot of them got the dreads, got the braids with the gold or brown tips, got the sagging and skinny jeans, which sound like an oxymoron. I don't know how you do that. There's a type, and they get singled out because they're trying to look like the young rappers, which you can't knock the kids for trying to look like what's popular. What you have to knock is what's popular and how you can change it. Because when you get older, you try to understand, man, you're setting the kids up for a rough life, because it's hard, man. It's hard out there. It's already hard as it is, hard enough as it is for us now. You're just adding on to it, trying to look cool. And you can sit there and say it's unfair. And we can all say it's unfair. And it is. We can say, but it ain't right. It's unfair that, we can't wear our hair like we want to. And we can't have our names like we want to. Why won't they hire us? The key word is they. It's they. It's their business. It's their money. And they don't have to do anything they don't want to. Which means it should give you motivation to do what you need to do to be able to make rules in your life. If you want to be able to do all that, start your own business. Or, go to school, get a degree to where your talents are needed so much that they'll overlook your name and they'll overlook your hairstyle as much as they want to. But they're not going to do it because they because they're going to need you. Or do what you do, or do the same thing in this system, do just enough to get by, and like I say, end up with jobs that don't pay much, but those who look a certain way, dress a certain way, talk a certain way, act a certain way, They get the jobs that make the big money. So the only thing that's left are jobs for you. Yes, sounds thrown off, but hey, like I said, this is not your world. You don't control anything, so you can be upset, but you got to either go with it, you got to deal with it, or create your own lanes and your own avenues. That's what it should motivate you to do. Here's a quote. I always shorten my African last name as well. It makes the interview feel less awkward when they say my name. It feels like it's a bit harder to then engage with them after your first introduction is you correcting them. Which is true. A black non-binary, oh Lord, non-binary. See how they threw that in there. Black non-binary employee age 20, 25 years old told researchers. So I shortened my name. It's a more Western name, and I've done it all my life. Like in school, it just makes life easier. And again, I can understand that because you live in a society different than what your parents grew up in. They brought you over here and raised you in a society where they won't. Undoubtedly, they brought you over here or wherever. This is Europe, whatever. You're in the place that they feel is better for you, for your future, where you can where they feel they can make a better life for their family if they live somewhere else. So that, but understanding that you're gonna have to conform to their rules, which you may not like, but then you got to pick and choose your battles, right? They say it takes the focus off my name and more on me, I guess, so they don't judge me by thinking, oh, her name really is my name. Well, say she's her. Anyway, her name's really hard to say, but more like, oh, she's a good candidate, or she's not that good candidate. The research backed by FTC 100 firms, including Tesco and GSK, looked at how black Gen Zers find jobs, how they navigate the application process, what support they want from employers, and how authentic they feel they can be at work. When deciding whether or not to wear the natural hair to interviews, those polled highlighted concerns about being perceived as unprofessional. I would very much love to wear my hair to work, because who wouldn't? It's the people that are around you that constantly want to like fiddle with it, or you are being told that your hair are like distractions to other people, and like, it's my hair, a female student told research. Yes, heard many of stories where these older white women will sit here and come up to a black woman or a black child, and without provocation or without even asking if it's for permission, they touch their hair and they'll grab it and they'll be like, oh, this is so cute, or oh, is this your real hair, or oh, I like this. Like, they are mesmerized with hair, especially black women's hair. Now, you remember back in the slavery days that, especially in Louisiana or New Orleans, it's like, New Orleans, Louisiana, that black hair was banned, that the slaves and those who worked in the house had to keep their hair wrapped because it was so enticing to the men, they felt. Because, as you know, the Bible stories, like with Samson, the strength is in his hair. And hair, that's the first thing people see. Even now, our sisters, they're going to make sure their hair is done, whether it's theirs, whether it's a wig, whether it's weave. They're going to do everything they can to make sure their hair is right. Their hair and nails. Now they got the snuffleupagus eyelashes and the contour makeup to try to look the same, which makes no sense to me. But they're going to make sure their hair is on point. So it's nothing new that these women are mesmerized by it, to the point I think there's a lot of hate involved. Because a lot of times they say, man, I've heard them say, hey, I can't do what you can do with your hair. I can't get my hair twist like that. Can't make it stand up like that. You can make your hair puff out like that. And they try their best to do it. But anyway, the report comes after the EHRC, Equality and Human Rights Commission, committed to reviewing its guidance on Afro hair discrimination in workplaces and schools last week. Once in the workplace, only 31% of Black Gen Z workers said they felt able to be their authentic selves, compared to 66% of their white peers. That means that the majority of those surveyed felt the need to change the way they look to fit in with colleagues. Again, I'm gonna put the link in the description box. You can read this for yourself. It's a little more to go, but again, it's the society you live in. I'm not gonna sit here and knock people who say that they have to do something to try to make a living and to make a way. Because if that's the way they choose, that's the way they choose. Everybody cannot be business owners. Everybody cannot work for their own kind because there's not enough jobs out there, perhaps. So in order to make a living, everybody don't want to be homeless. Understand. Can't knock it. But, and I know it's disparaging. It can be discouraging when you see like people of other races, got hair with color in it. And back in the day, that was not allowed. Or you see people with other races, with tattoos on their neck. And back in the day, that was not allowed, but they allowing it more and more. But then you got people who wear natural hair. And I say all people too wear hair with, a lot of crazy throwed off colors and stuff and tattoos now too. But when you're trying to wear, it's just, like I said, discouraging when that stuff is allowed, but you're not allowed to be natural. You're not allowed to be natural in your hairstyle. You're not allowed to use your natural name with fears of being fired or fears of not getting a job to be able to support yourself, which again brings me to the point of creating your own revenue, your own business, or teaching your kids how to create their own revenue, create their own business. Even if it does mean they will have to work for someone else for a while to stack that bread up, to help finance their business, and maybe they will have to change their name or change their hair, to fit in, because we know how to change up when need be. I know how to talk to people in the interview. I know how to talk to my friends in the street or at home. I know how to talk to my family at home. It's just it's different. You know what I'm saying? You conform to whatever you're around to a point without actually losing your identity. And I think that's the most important thing, that you don't lose yourself as a person. Your hair, yes, although it's a look, it shouldn't define you. Your name, now your name defines you. Your name, because that's biblical. Your first name, your last name, or what have you, that's who you are. It's like now at the age that I'm at, I'm trying to, I want my name to mean something. Not my hair, not my looks, not my clothes, but I want my name to mean, when people say my name, I want them to say good and positive things about it, or things that that represent what a man should be. But again, you should, regardless of how you got to do the change, you should not have to lose your identity. As long as you don't lose your identity to be who you need to be, then everything should be okay. But once you have to change your identity, change who you are, act, a certain way that's totally against who you are, then you need to check yourself in the mirror. You need to really see what things need to change. But anyway, that's all I got for this video. Tell me what you think. Leave your comments below, and then share it with the world. With that being said, I leave you in peace. I'll see you on the other side.